ILDF gang, Jason Seacrest here. As you can tell from some of the background decorations, Christmas is just around the corner, 2018. I recently picked up my first D704 player, and I wanted to make a quick repair video on it because there was a couple of minor issues with it. I'm always asking others from the group to do the same thing so that we can all, educate ourselves and learn how to make basic repairs and diagnose problems on the machine, since there really is no one else to do it these days. But before we get to that, I wanted to give you a quick amusing story behind the machine. A couple years ago, a machine came up for $75. It was supposed to be in working order, and it came with about 100 discs. Well, unfortunately, the guy selling it was about 2 or 3 hours away from me, and I couldn't quite get to him before he sold it to somebody else. So I have been religiously checking Craigslist and Facebook, for the past 2 years, and finally another machine came up. 2 weeks ago, this popped up about an hour's drive from me for $60. It was advertised as in working condition. So I was like, well, let's do it. It's worth the risk, right? It's only $60. It's better than the $300 to $400 you pay on eBay for these things. So I meet him out there in front of a movie cinema, and he brings the machine out in a white plastic trash bag. Not like this out of the back of his car. I moved faster than Bruce Lee to get my hands on that machine before it came plummeting to the earth and meeting an early demise. So he gets the machine out. I'm looking over it. It's pristine. It looks like it just came out of the box. I couldn't find a blemish on it. And he said he turned it on, the tray opened up and all that stuff. But he says to me, he goes, "Yeah, it plays records and CDs too." My response was, yes, it does. I don't think he quite knew what he had. Young guy, super nice guy. But for $60, I'm like, yeah, this is a bargain. So took it home, plugged it in, and everything popped open. The tray opened up, the lights came on, but it wouldn't play. So I was a little disappointed that I just couldn't start up and start playing discs on it. But I wanted to take the opportunity to try and diagnose for myself what the problem was, and it turned out to be basic stuff. There's 3 different problems. And make a video for you guys. So big shout out to Peter Biancardi. He pointed me in the right direction on a few things because he owns a D704. And shout out to my dad. He gave me some pointers too. He's got a couple of D704s himself. And for those of you in the group that don't know what this player is, it's arguably the best of the non-elite players from Pioneer. It's sought after. It's got AC3. It's got the digital trickery for CLD discs that make it look like it's a CAV. You can step through the frames. It's just an all-around really good player, and I want to use this with some A/B comparisons going forward, make some more videos for you guys. So anyway, enjoy. Thanks. So here's the D704. We've already got the cover off. There's just a handful of screws, and what I'm going to demonstrate to you now is the symptom. So you see the tray closing, and the upper clamp there, the deck, is rising, but it doesn't complete. So after a little bit of struggling, and you won't be able to hear it on the video, but you can hear the whirring sound, it kicks the tray back out. So how can we further diagnose this? Well, we can assist that upper deck, and there we go. Now it completes its loading process. So my misunderstanding about the loading belt, which I'm pointing to there on the right hand side of the player, is that it only opened and closed the tray. You can see the belt right here. Peter Biancardi explained to me that it not only does that, but it rises that deck in the back. So even though the belt may be working enough to open and close the tray, once it meets enough resistance, it can no longer work. So the loading belt is really easy to get to. You can see right there, and you can reach it. However, it'll be a lot simpler to take out by removing this AC3 board. It's the video and audio board. So we're going to take that out.
Oh.
Yeah? So we're going to pull that board? Or we pulled the board? Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, we got that out of the way so we get the belt out. Right. I pulled the belt out. There it is. I've got the belt. We're going to go boil the belt. Now, this is just a quick trick to try to tighten up the belt a little bit. It's a temporary fix, but we're going to give it a shot. Boil it for about 30 seconds and see what happens. So here's a picture of the new belt in the package. That's the smaller belt. It's a 3.6. Thanks again to Peter Biancardi for sending me that link. And next to it is the belt that I pulled out of the player with just a pair of needle nose pliers. And you can see the big difference. The old belt has just lost its tension. It's too big and therefore can't get the job done. Alright, so we got the new belt loaded up. Let's press the button and see what happens. Yes, victory!
A happy moment.
Now that we've got the belt in there and we know that it loads, let's see if it'll play a disc. No, it stopped. You can hear it slide, so now we're going to look at the grip pad. So what we're going to repair is the lower clamp assembly, the ring itself. It's the outer ring that you see. It's just a really thin rubber ring that's got a mild adhesive on the underside of it, and that grips the disc and the spindle turns the disc. I've already cleaned it with some alcohol and that did not solve the problem, so now what we're going to do is take some Plasti Dip and just resurface it. So as you can see, I've covered the whole player in a plastic bag, and we've ran some painter's tape up underneath the clamp, and what I'm doing right now is just making sure the tape's getting in between the ring itself and the spindle. It's a little off-centered, sorry about that, but I'm just using my fingernail. Okay, so we're going to shake up the Plasti Dip fairly well, and as you can see, I've done a few spray tests here, and then we're just going to apply 2 or 3 really light coatings in different directions. And according to the can, you want to let this stuff sit for about 4 hours just to give it, make sure it's cured very well before you use it. Okay, so that didn't work either. What that led me to believe was it was the upper assembly clamp that was grinding. So maybe there was nothing wrong with the grip pad itself all along, but nevertheless, now it's got a fresh coat on it, and I prolonged the life of the clamp itself. But now I'm going to show you how I diagnosed that upper clamp problem. Alright, so here we are, and what I'm pointing to right now is the upper clamp assembly. It just bolts on with 4 nuts, and with 4 screws, and you can just take it off. As you can see, I pressed the play button and it's starting to spin up, but the disc simply can't get up to speed, and what you can't hear is there's still that slipping or grinding sound. Now I know it's a grinding sound coming from that assembly. I attempted to solve it with some white lithium grease. I sprayed that into the clamp, and that did improve it, but it still didn't fix the problem. So I've already unscrewed the support bar right here, and I'm going to pull this out, and it's really hard to see, but on this tab it's straight, and on this one you can see it's at an angle up, almost as if someone put weight on the support bar as they were reinstalling it. So what I'm going to try and do is just manually bend that back in, and we'll pop it back in and see what we get. Okay, so we've got everything screwed back in, got the support bar here screwed in, the upper clamp and so forth, so we're going to press play and see what we get. Will it spin? So far, so far. Yeah, it's got up to speed. Yeah.